Hello, everyone. This is Attorney Gehi, and it's fantastic being here today. And we have some very interesting people joining us today, and we have a great topic for you all. And you all know that we are going to talk about VAWA, that's Violence Against Women's Act, advanced issues. So until now, we were talking about the basics, but it's time for us to talk about some issues which you might have not encountered, especially when it comes to, fighting cases before the immigration judge. So with me today, I have Suraya Raman, and she's a senior attorney at Gay and Associates, a managing attorney, and she's handled a lot of VAWA cases and in the court as well as before USCIS. And we have Jessica, who is the director of sales in our company. And welcome, Jessica. It's wonderful having you. Then we have Mike over here, who's also in our sales team. And plus, thank you to Ravi, to John, and to Priyanjali, and to Ibitoy, and to Ravi, and to everyone else who's made this particular session possible. So folks, today, let's first talk about, what is VAWA? And this is meant for people who have not attended a show before. So this program is brought to you by My Legal Software. My Legal Software is a case management company, and we've been helping a lot of lawyers with the case management. And this is fantastic for general practice lawyers as well as immigration lawyers. So therefore, even if you are an immigration lawyer or if you're a general practice lawyer, doesn't matter if you practice personal injury, if you practice matrimonial law, this software can be great for you. And my special thanks to this team for putting this entire program together. And I am Attorney Gehi, as you all know, principal attorney of Gehi and Associates. And with me, as I said, my other colleague, that's Suraya Raman, is from my office, and we'll be discussing VAWA at length. So let's get started. And then in between, I'll also be kind of, taking some turns, some breaks, and whatnot to make this very interactive. So Suraya, there's someone who called me today and told me, I'm a man. Can I apply for VAWA? What should I tell him?
Absolutely. If he's been a victim of abuse or extreme cruelty, absolutely.
But he's a man.
That doesn't matter. No one should be in a relationship. No one.
Good answer. You passed. You got 10 points. You passed. So VAWA can apply to anybody, man or woman, or even transgender. That's not actually listed under the law, as you know, yet. But it doesn't matter. It applies to everybody. So what are the requirements for VAWA, Suraya Raman?
So the requirement is that technical requirement is that you must have lived with the abuser. You must have been subject to physical abuse or extreme cruelty is the standard.
Fantastic answer, 100 points given to you right now on the table. So you are on the winning chair and I'm on the losing chair because you're answering all my questions properly. That's not good. So today, so far, I'm the loser, you're the winner. I don't like that very much. Let me win some points here. Well, I have an interesting question. This is meant for advanced lawyers, actually. Let's see how they answer this. And lawyers, even you're going to get a chance to answer the question on a chat group. And, we have this chat. And if you have any questions and if you're ready with your answers, let us check your knowledge also. So besides Suraya and me, if you are watching the show, check your knowledge to see how good you are in VAWA. So now to all my lawyer friends, not to Suraya Raman, and if you're watching this show, and Suraya, I don't want you to answer, but finally, then I'm going to give a chance to you to answer. If not, I will answer. There's a client who comes to your office and they miss the 2 years because VAWA requires that if you have been divorced, you have to file for a VAWA within 2 years. Now he comes to your office and tells you, I have missed my VAWA deadline. I'm divorced. And I really cannot go back to my country because I'll be the hall of shame from my own family. And I'm very sad that I did not know about the VAWA deadline. So what will be your solution given to the client who is in your office? How would you advise the client if the client is telling you that my 2 years have passed and I still want to consider VAWA? Do I have any options? Anyone can answer this question. So I want Suraya to wait to see if there are people who are watching us and who can answer this question. But after 15 seconds, Suraya will take the answer, will be giving an answer. Then after that, if not, let me see if I can get some points in my basket today. The clock starts now. Anybody wants to answer? You can send us an answer right now if you're watching the show. This is a live program. So if you're an attorney watching this program, or if you're a paralegal working for a law firm, let's test your knowledge. One, I'm going to count 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Seems like I'm going to be the winner here. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So before Suraya gives the answer, I'm going to repeat the question again. You have a client who has been divorced for more than 2 years, and now he still wants to apply for VAWA. What is the way out? Is there a way out? Is the answer yes or no? Let's count 10. If not, Suraya will answer, then I will answer. And these are advanced issues in VAWA, folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This means that I expected one person to at least come up with an answer. I don't see any answers. So it's time for Suraya Rahman to give an answer here.
Attack the judgment. See if you can vacate it in the matrimonial case.
50 points.
Not 100?
No, not 100. More to go. Try. This is a double jeopardy from Naresh Gahi. Okay, I'll count 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, done. I'll give you some answers, folks. If you are a lawyer who's been doing this for a long time, listen to my strategies, what I would do in this case. Firstly, I realized in this case that this particular person was a victim of domestic abuse. So in this case, I can even file for a late asylum under membership in a social group, take it to the court, because once you are in court, the 2-year deadline of VAWA does not apply, and you can still file your VAWA as well as you can file the domestic abuse case. How do you like that, Suraya?
Yeah, that's 100.
That's how you make 100. At the same time, for the other 50, you can go back and you can also try the motion to vacate default judgment. So folks, you learn a lot on these sessions. There's another thing over here. Someone comes to your office, folks, and he tells you that, I was living with my spouse. She deliberately did not want to have joint bank accounts. She did everything within her reach to block me up. And my life is a mess right now. And I don't have a lot of joint documents. What can we do in these cases? But this person has been subjected to extreme cruelty. All right, so in this case, what we can do is we can have polygraph evidence here. We can also basically have a psych evaluation to see whether he's speaking the truth, and we can have psych evaluations, lot of affidavits. Friends can be called to the courtroom to testify. And in one of the cases that I'd done, I'd also even called a priest who had performed the marriage to actually testify regarding the bona fides of the marriage, because one of the major requirements of VAWA is for us to have a bona fide marriage. And we were able to do that, and that really did take us a long way. So now I'm going to put the ball in Jessica's court here and in Suraj's kind of courtroom out here. So when you start a case, can you and Jessica show me the portal of how you begin a case, and why is this court calendar so helpful to you, and how do you use it when you start your VAWA case? So you can begin with my case of you start a case, and Suraj, why don't you talk about it? Which are the features that you like over here? And Jessica will also join you with some talking out here. And
Sure.
by the time, you can talk about the VAWA case and how you handle your calendar and how do you do everything out here.
Yes, sure. So immigration speed is, not only is it helpful, it's necessary for me to keep track of all my legal obligations. It helps me keep track of legal deadlines. And then even within each case, it helps me track the flow of the case between starting from when you retain the client to giving the client the intake, collecting supporting documentation, and filing the case. It keeps track of everything. So it's very essential to our practice. So here the screen is when a client first retains you. This is the screen you get, and it lets you step by step put in the essential information that is needed for you to manage the case, the client's name, phone number, email, what kind of case it is. And that's very helpful also because once you, when you have a large practice or a volume-based practice, sometimes you need to make decisions based on the types of cases that you have in your firm. You want to inventory. I'm sorry, there's some background noise here. So this is really helpful for that because you can go back to audit and reports and pull the reports based on case. Very helpful for that. And then, yeah, so this is the screen for the report. If you'll go to cases, yes. You could do a case audit or case type report. There's hundreds of reports you can pull. You can pull it by an employee, legal, you can pull it by deadlines, you can pull it by tasks of employees. So there's so many ways to manage your cases through this software. So if Jessica, if you'd like to open a sample case. So this would be a screen, for example, if you have a paralegal, if you just opened a case or your case manager, office manager opens a case, it shows up under my tasks and my cases. Okay, so we're opening a case now. And we're just putting in the information. It's very user-friendly, very simple to use. You upload your retainer here. You can just drag and drop it to where it says file. If you're in a rush and you don't have time to add this at the time of case opening, you can go back later and add these documents. You can just hit skip. So it's really your preference. You can add your invoice information here. MyLS is a great way to keep track of your accounts receivable and, collect fees that are
Now,
your
so I'd
office.
like to say now, for example, right, we started this VAWA case with the client, and let's stay on the screen. So you can put in your retainer over here. Plus, at the same time, you can set a reminder to collect your payments over here. And then you can also go to the calendar when it comes up before the code. You have a master calendar hearing, then you have an individual calendar hearing. You have everything in this software that people will not find in other softwares. So I must also say that there's a lot of time and effort put by immigration lawyers and general practice lawyers. Let me not forget the word general practice, because we have two different kind of softwares. One is for general practice lawyers and one is for immigration lawyers. So in a sense, we have two versions. And, the good thing is that, it's just, I believe, good for both of them. You would say, Suraya, what is your analysis of that? So you also do general practice.
Yes, absolutely. It's almost universal. You have deadlines in all types, in both types of cases, in immigration cases and general practice. You have deadlines, you have documents you need to upload, you have, it pretty much tracks. So it's definitely.
Also, there's something what I like is that, the good thing about the software is that you can also pass on the fee to your client and you can save money. So you may not have to even pay the licensing fee. And I think, Jessica, you want to say something about it?
Yeah, sorry. I think that one of the great things here as well is when you are looking through and trying to figure out what to do, one of the things you'll notice, I'm very easily going through this. I'm just typing in anything I need to right now to show it to you. Anyone can use it. And when it comes to our software, we give you the ability, like Mr. Gay was saying, to pass on the fee to your client so that you're not even paying for it. So if any of you are interested,
so it's free for the lawyer. And let's put it
correct.
this way, that if my retainer is $10,000, I start with the 2,500 and I charge him the fee over there. So in essence, there's no licensing fee here. And what happens if they don't have a client in a month? That means they don't pay. Simple. Correct, Jessica?
Absolutely. Let's keep
So-
going so that we can finish this case so that then we can show them the rest. So I'm going to keep filling out while you talk, okay?
Mhm. So as you all can see is that, the good news is that she's even filling it up. And the best thing is that I believe, Suraya, how, since you're a lawyer who has been using My Legal software for a long time, how long does it take for a person to learn My Legal software? Because you're an attorney who's actually been using it.
To learn it, you can learn it within one day. It's very user friendly.
The basics can be done within around 2 or 3 hours, you believe?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, it's very intuitive. You need very minimal training. Yeah.
And this is good for even lawyers who haven't used softwares before and lawyers who want to start the practice. And this is also good for lawyers like, who are scared of technology, I would say, new lawyers and even paralegals, and for everyone, because there's a paralegal section, there's an attorney section, there's a lot more than you could imagine in this software.
And now we're at the form section. Do we want to go ahead and talk to them about that?
Now, for immigration lawyers, I think you have immigration forms there. I think that's a very important thing for Suraya to talk about, how immigration forms can help the immigration lawyer and how templates can help the general practice lawyer.
Yeah, so you can save templates in your database so that when you make assignments to your employees, there's no guesswork at all. Your paralegal can just refer to the template and get the work done.
What about these forms for the immigration attorneys? How do you use these forms? And can you explain how this works for everyone?
Yeah, sure. So this would be, let's say, for example, if this was a VAWA case, you would want to do a I-360. And additionally, if you wanted to do an adjustment application concurrently, you could type in if you go to form group, if you click on the dial for form group, and the group would be adjustment of status. Okay, I think it's based on the 360. Okay, so there we go. So it'd be I-485. Oh, I see. You have to add who you want the form to be for. So there you go. And that's it. And then you can go to the next step. And this is, it lets you put it, you can also add this later, but you can put in any events or tasks at the time of case opening. For example, if the client is divorced and you have 2 years to file the VAWA, you'll want to put in that event, that critical event into your calendar here. Now, you can do it now, or you could do it after you open the whole case. Or for example, let's say the client filed jointly with their spouse, things were going great before, and they have an interview date coming up. You know, now would be the time to put in the interview date so that you can determine whether you want to ask for an abeyance, or, you know, if you want to have the client go to the interview. So you can put this, these dates in here.
That is wonderful. So you can even keep deadlines, and so that you know everything by the day of what's passing on. So Suraya,
Yes.
we'll keep the screen open, but let's talk about some other interesting issues about VAWA. Now, the most important thing which I've seen in VAWA is that what is a bona fide marriage for VAWA purposes, Suraya? Because that's a big question before the court sometimes. And are there credibility issues involved in VAWA cases?
Yes, of course. So you do have to prove a bona fide marriage. That is one of the elements of a VAWA case. And that means that you intended to establish a life together with your spouse.
All right, that's good. Now, there are a few other issues that I encountered before the immigration court, and this is something that is missed by a lot of lawyers. So sometimes you are in the courtroom and you are before EOIR, that's the Executive Office for Immigration Review, and you're before the immigration judge. Always remember two things, folks. Even if you are filing an application for VAWA, EOR 42A before the immigration judge, also check if you have a possibility for a social group asylum. And plus, you can also see whether you can go for cancellation of removal under 240 of the INA, and if you can show extreme, exceptional, and unusual hardship to other relatives. Now, this can become critically important for you because now you are looking at 3 bites of the apple in the courtroom. So suppose now here is basically our MYLS calendar. So in the case notes, I would go on the case notes over here. I would say, hey, listen, my paralegal, look at the case notes here. I would go to my case notes and I would add over here in that section by stating that, you know, please file for EOIR 42A, EO, file for FOR, no, I'm so sorry, file FOR for, no, not for, FOR. EO, E as an elephant, EOIR 42A and 42B. That's it. So if you have a seasoned paralegal, the paralegal will understand that exactly you have to have both the applications, you're good to go. How easy this is so that you don't have to worry and you can proceed further. And when you go on your left-hand side, you can look at, there are all the forms over here. We can go to that later. We can show that to you. So we have 2 types of forms here. We have customs forms, and we also have the generic USCIS forms. If you don't find them in the custom forms, go to the generic USCIS forms or go to EOIR forms. We can look into that later on. And then you can kind of basically go further from there. So the system is so easy that you can go back and forth and finish it down. Now I am before the judge who is saying that, okay, I understand that Mr. Gay, your client has a problem. And now this question is for Suraya. He says that your client entered into the country without a visa now. Now, what should a good lawyer do at the master calendar hearing? So now let's go to the calendar over here. Can you show the court calendar over here? Go to the calendar here. And let's go to, on top, let's go to court. Correct? And Suraya, can you talk about this? How would you start at the master calendar here?
Yeah, so at the master calendar hearing, of course, you want to confirm the facts with your client, how they entered. And then you can either, and then you admit or deny the allegations.
See what over here it's written on the right hand side, individual hearings. You have everything in the system that can help you, what kind of hearing you're having, the name of the judge, etc., etc. This is very important for everyone to know. Now you're before the judge and you're telling him that, listen, I understand there's an unlawful presence issue. Sorry, I have a entry issue here. But the good thing is that my client, since he's a VAWA applicant, he can show self-hardship and he'll be eligible for the waiver. Plus, at the same time, if he's also filing an EOR 42B, B as in boy, that is a different application, commonly refers to as cancellation of removal, based upon your 10-year presence in the United States, you can still qualify for a green card. Doesn't matter how you win it, ultimately you qualify for the green card for your client. Isn't that fantastic? Now, another thing which I do, Suraya, is sometimes I like to look at the mail, because when I get the mail for the master calendar hearing, I make sure that I use the mailing feature. I add packages received today, look at that. We put the packages, we put the date, and we put the time when it was received. So this is an ethical issue, because sometimes you do not receive mail. And suppose, God forbid, if your client sues you, that you missed a hearing, and if you get a lozada, this entire report can be very helpful. Now, the whole idea for creating this was to try to help lawyers to prevent a lozada. So now, Suraya, can you tell some people what is a lozada hearing?
Oh, hopefully no one here has to find out.
But we have good solutions for people who actually may encounter lozada during their lifetimes.
Yeah, so lozada is when you are filing a claim based on ineffective assistance of counsel. For example, if you miss a 1-year filing deadline based on based on ineffective assistance of counsel, you have to go through what's prescribed in the case law in the matter of lozada. So what's required there is that you have to communicate with the offending lawyer and give them a chance to rebut what your client is alleging, how they, didn't do what they were supposed to do. And then it also requires a formal complaint to the bar that the.
Now, I like that one, complaint to the bar committee. So all those issues were factored in, especially when we developed my legal software. So we made sure that we try to cross our I's and our T's over here to make sure that you are protected. You can even print a special report, which I think Jessica can show it to you, or even Mike can show it to you, or in future when you take a demo from them, why we have so many features that can help you to kind of basically, make sure that you don't get sued, even in general practice or in immigration, when it comes to, ineffective assistance of counsel. So if you're a general practice lawyer, you missed your motion date, there are tons of reminders that you can use. And let's go to the ticketing feature. That's why ticketing is so important for me. So if I know that I got a call, from I practice personal injury, and I got a call for an order to show cause and I have to appear tomorrow, I would use the ticketing feature. I would create a ticket. If I'm a paralegal for my boss, I just got exactly a call from the judge and we have an order to show cause and I want you to appear for the hearing. And you can also use the texting feature. So damn good. Send a message to your boss from your office. I know you're in court, but Judge so-and-so called, and your boss will be happy. So paralegals, you need to tell your bosses that you want to definitely look at my legal software. as a lawyer, when I started using it, for me, my paralegal meant a lot because she's the person who's using it more than the lawyer. So you can get in touch with Jessica. You can let her know that you want to have a demo. And Jessica, how can people reach you or Mike or anybody over here?
Well, the best thing to do is you can send us an email. So my email, I'll put it in the chat. It's jessica@mylegalsoftware.com. Or Mike's, I believe, is mike@mylegalsoftware.com, but we'll put those in the
And
chat
what is
for
your
you.
phone number? Do you all have a
Sure.
phone number, Mike? What is your phone number?
Our phone number is 934-LAW-TECH. Once again,
Isn't that very easy? 934 Law Tech.
Simple. Yes, correct.
934 Law Tech. It cannot be easier. Cannot get easier than that. The answer is 934 Law Tech. And what is your website?
It's www.mylegalsoftware.com.
It's mylegalsoftware.com. Means, isn't that easy? So folks, 934 Law Tech or Jessica@mylegalsoftware.com, or what's yours, Mike?
So it's actually mike.mo@mylegalsoftware.com.
Mike.mo@mylegalsoftware.com or 934 Law Tech. All right. So Suraya, today I think you're winning the battle. You give an answer for what is ineffective assistance of counsel, and ineffective assistance of counsel generally applies even in civil litigation cases. So generally what it means is that you can encounter a malpractice lawsuit. You can be reported to the bar committee because you're missing dates. And for that, Jessica has some very, very special features to show you. And those are some trade secrets that we have. And I think that the best way to understand those secrets is to call Jessica or to call Mike, because those are things that we can show you, because those were actually developed by lawyers. Thanks to Suraya Rahman and many other lawyers who actually took the time to come up with these deadline features. Because Suraya is not only practicing immigration, she does matrimonial law, she does personal injury, she does civil litigation. So you can see the experience of the team that has put this entire program together for you folks. Now, Suraya, let's talk about matrimonial law, because you also use, My Legal Software for matrimonial law. How does this help you? Excellent for deadlines. How do you use the templates feature here? Can you talk about the templates?
Yeah, the templates come in handy for when we're doing discovery. I just upload some template interrogatories, requests for admissions, deposition notices, requests to admit, requests for production. And then the caseworker, the paralegal, they'll be able to see the sample and just make a few edits, and we have what
It's
we
easy.
our case.
You can use it for any kind of program, correct? That's what I like about My Legal Software. You can use it the way you want, and you can use it for any type of practice: matrimonial, contracts, litigation, bankruptcy. And even if you're using a bankruptcy software, the good thing is, as you see on the left-hand side, you can just add a widget over here. So you'll be able to use the bankruptcy software, plus you have everything else. So what I like about My Legal Software is that it's a 360-degree program, wherein you can also add other areas which you're using some other small softwares. They can be linked to it, and you can have a full circle out here. So besides that, now you are before the court now, and your client is saying that I have another problem. I entered into this country on someone else's visa, and she doesn't have proof of the visa. And you're in immigration court filing a VAWA application. What would you do, Suraya, in this case?
The proof of entry for VAWA cases, proof of entry is not required.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So in this case, I'm getting 50 points here. Is because she entered on a fraudulent passport, she has to apply for a self-hardship for a 212I waiver under the INA. So in VAWA cases, you have to show self-hardship when you're before the immigration judge. And if the judge feels that this person has undergone a lot of stress during her relationship with the spouse, then, that's fine. Now, another question, which some people don't know the answer to: members of the same sex, they fight a lot too. Can they apply for VAWA?
Absolutely. I've had approvals for same-sex couples. Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. So anyone, as you can see, can be or a same-sex marriage, or can be basically, any marriage is fine to qualify for a, VAWA case, provided it's with a human being. Provided it's with a human being. Provided it's with a human being. Someone had even called me and told me that, listen, I'm in love with someone else, can I apply for a fiancé visa? I said, the world hasn't changed so much yet, but I won't be surprised that someone tells me I'm in love with my dog who's in a foreign country. Can my dog become my fiancé? The law may change. You never know. You never know where the world is headed, right? So, I mean it, that exactly everything in life is subject to change, and good lawyers change the law, they fight the law. You never know. These are things, I'm talking very intellectually here. You never know of how law changes, folks. You never know. Another thing is that there's this man who comes to the court. He says that my children abused me very badly. They kicked me out of my house. They threw me out without any food, clothing, and shelter. Can he apply for VAWA? Suraya, question to you.
So this is a father of a
Father of a US citizen.
adult US citizen child?
That is correct.
Yes, he would be eligible to file for VAWA.
Winning all the points here, Suraya. Tell me why.
That's one of the categories that are eligible to apply.
Who else is eligible?
You can have children of US citizens under 20. You can have spouses of green card holders.
Yes.
Who else? I think that's it.
You are 100% correct. I have nothing to win today. I'm just looking at how many points I have over here. I'm going to tell you my score right now.
And it looks like we have a question in the chat box, if you want me to read that out to you while you're
Yes,
looking
please.
up your score. Okay. Can a VAWA applicant who has been previously deported or removed from the United States still be eligible for relief?
Yes,
That's the
he may.
question.
Yes, he may. This time I just want to get some points. I have 0 points and Surah is at 5,000 points. So at least let me have 20 points for sure. So let me cheat a little bit. So my answer is yes, you may. Because what you can do in this case is get the VAWA application approved. And then after that, you can file for a motion to reopen under 8 CFR 1003 of the Immigration and Nationality Act and try to reopen your old deportation. And you can file for changed circumstances. You can file for exceptional circumstances, and you can request sua sponte jurisdiction of the judge to try to reopen this application. But generally, you have to show that a motion to reopen has to be filed within 90 days from the date of the order, or 180 days from the date of the order. But in this case, if you can show exceptional circumstances, then the timeliness of the case does not matter, and the case will be reopened if you have a good judge, and if he feels that there are kind of exceptional factors, he may open the judge. Suraya, do I get any points?
I think that gets you 5,000 points.
All right. So
All right, we're at a tie.
all right. Thank you so much. Get a tie now.
So if anybody else has questions, y'all make sure to submit your question. Maybe you can be the tiebreaker.
All right. Let's have a tiebreaker question. Let's see whether people have any more questions. And as I said, conducting a trial, it's an art. And when you conduct a trial in the courtroom, you should walk in style and talk in style. It's easier said than done. But a good lawyer reads the mind of the adversary. Before you talk, remember one thing. When you're in the courtroom, especially in the courtroom, God has given you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Write that down. And sometimes, when your adversary speaks a lot, he's shooting himself in the foot. So let him do the talking sometimes. And a good trial lawyer brings up the worst in the case on direct examination. That shocks the adversary I mean, it's difficult for me to tell you how that works. But when you are talking to the witness on the stand, bring out the worst of the witness in a very nice way and let the witness answer the question. This is one way the adversary attorney will stand up from his desk and say, what the hell is happening in the courtroom? And that's how many good lawyers win cases, folks. Be very respectful to the judge. Be very respectful to your adversary. Because law is not about winning cases, folks. Law is not about winning cases. It's about administering justice fairly and properly. It's very rightly said that the true administration of justice is the firmest pillar of good government. And I want every lawyer listening to me to follow this canon of the justice system, because even I forget sometimes. We all become personal. But if you really want to be that good lawyer, try to make sure that you leave an impression before the courtroom when you leave the courtroom. The judge should say, what a great lawyer this man is. Winning and losing is a part of our job. Winning or losing a case is something that's normal. But one thing which is very unusual in life and something that is special, unique, and extraordinary is your self-respect in the courtroom. Always remember that, folks. As I said, you all are going to learn a lot. And if there are any other questions, please do type them. We'll be happy to kind of talk
There
about.
are. Yeah, I've
Okay,
got a
great.
couple here, okay? The
Yes,
first one
Jessica.
is, how can an attorney deal with a situation where the petitioner and abuser are still living together or have joint financial accounts?
Fantastic. Suraj, should I take the question or would you like to take it?
I don't mind taking it.
All right, please take this.
So what's crucial, we want to remember as attorneys, is that your client is safe. So especially in these types of situations. So it's really important that you consult with your client and make sure that it's in confidence, and find out what is a safe address for the client. VAWA does not require that you leave your abuser. There are many reasons that people stay in abusive relationships. Sometimes it's safer. It prevents death because that's the point where an abused person is most at risk, is when they leave. So there may be reasons that your client is staying with abusers. So that being said, it's important that you have a safe address for your client where they can send mail to. Maybe it's a trusted friend or family member. Maybe they have the receipts coming to your office only.
Yes, so I think that's such a great thing what Suraya is talking about. Now, what we do is that we use My Legal software here. And generally what we do in the software, we put in the notes category that all the mail, especially it also goes to the paralegal and it goes to the senior members of the firm. We use a sensitive case over here, Suraya, and we say that let all the mail come to the office. And also we make sure that we have kind of a certain kind of special features that if anyone calls, do not give them any answers. So there are a lot of special features that you can only know when you get in touch with Jessica, with Mubin, with Mike, to understand what those special features are inbuilt over here. So as I said, you won't find a lot of things that in other softwares. So all these things were taken into consideration. And in this case, what I would do is I would make sure that you should use the lawyer's address and also write a letter that this is a situation where they both are living together and the spouse would not like her husband to know or the wife to know, whatever that is. And we had a case like this and we did win. And in that case, what happened was that the husband did not want to apply for the spouse at all. And the green card came in the mail. She got it and she underwent a lot of abuse from this man. And finally, she divorced him after that. So you may be living with the abuser, but that does not mean that you cannot apply for a VAWA case. Next question.
The next one is where an abuse occurred several years ago. What type of evidence is helpful in supporting a VAWA application? So what
Well,
would be good for an attorney to get from them?
Witness testimony, number one, psychological testimony, joint documents, helps a lot in these cases, text messages, WhatsApp messages, older ones too, and to show that this person is still suffering, that, for example, if this person is undergoing psychosomatic disorders or depression or dementia precox, I can even talk to you in medical terms if I really have to. So you need to show that all those kind of basically factors are present, like your client is suffering from dementia precox. That's actually manic depressive disorders, also because of the abuse that occurred years ago. Because you'll have to show that, because if there's no kind of mental cruelty present, then the immigration officer may deny the case.
Awesome. Next question is, are there limitations to the number of VAWA petitions that can be granted each year?
Suraya, why don't you take that question? You know that very well.
I don't.
Grant, any amount of cases can be granted.
Yeah.
That's nothing in VAWA that can stop you, I believe. So that's the good news about VAWA. So
And
folks,
then the last question, oops,
Yeah.
Sorry, there was just
Go ahead.
one more that I had missed. It's how does VAWA differ from other forms of release for domestic violence? What makes
All right.
it?
VAWA differs because, the good thing about VAWA is that you don't need a sponsor. So you don't have to wait for your husband or your wife to sponsor you. You can self-sponsor yourself. That's the biggest benefit that VAWA has. The second benefit is that you might have entered this country by crossing the border. You can still get a green card in the United States of America. You might have entered on someone else's passport. You can still qualify for a green card in America. This is the biggest advantage that VAWA has over many other applications in this country. Except for asylum, where entry is not a big issue, but VAWA is the second category, which is equally good. And in a VAWA, you are the applicant, you're the petitioner and the beneficiary. So that's the biggest benefit. So you don't need a sponsor if you've been a victim of abuse, but the abuse has to be from a US citizen or from a green card holder. So folks, this is Naresh M. Gay and Suraya Rahman, from Gay and Associates. And next, again, after 2 weeks from now, we'll be having an interesting session. And Jessica, how can people, and also what we offer to new lawyers and people who want to build a practice. We've been answering questions to a lot of lawyers, who have been joining My Legal Software. A lot of paralegals have been recommending lawyers. General practice lawyers have been joining us. They're taking these demos, and you get this legal assistance if needed. And I'm Suraya from Gay and Associates, a different company. And I'm the founder of My Legal Software, but both of them are different companies. And the advice given in this program is general in nature and does not apply to any particular facts or circumstances from Suraya Rahman and from Naresh M. Gehi. So if you have any questions, anything in particular, I think I'm going to give a few minutes to, I would say, to Jessica and Mike to talk first. Mike, why don't you go first? Is there anything you'd like to say today of how happy people are with using My Legal Software?
Thank you for that. So let's talk about a few lawyers that are currently under my supervision right now with learning and practicing the software. So we started off, I would say 2 days ago with a few attorneys. They started off using the software. It took them like a maximum of 2 hours to learn it.
2
Then
hours
they
to
brought
learn,
on
that's
their
it?
team.
See,
2 hours,
2
yes.
hours to learn the software.
2 hours. Then they brought on the rest of the team, and it was actually, they started teaching the team how to use it. I had to sit quiet. And it was like, what do I do now? Do I leave or do I stay? And then certain questions came up, which were answered fantastically with the help of some of the attorneys that work with us to answer questions that I could not answer, which is fabulous. Attorneys are really impressed. And one of the major parts about this is the referrals I'm getting from them, which are other lawyers coming on board. And it's daily, every day, I'm getting emails, phone calls to find out, how do I get my hands on My Legal Software? And it's simple, 934 Law Tech or www.mylegalsoftware.com. That's how you can get a hold of us.
Also, I'm happy to let you know that Gay and Associates, that's our firm, has close to 100 members using My Legal software, and we have 18,000 cases, 18,000 cases on My Legal software, and everything is secured. We are very happy. And if you want to have a demo, you can reach Jessica or Mobeen. Jessica, you can go now how people can reach you, and your phone number and your email address, and what's the easiest way to contact you for a demo.
Absolutely. I've put everything in the chat for them for our email addresses and the phone number. As soon as we hear from you, we'll be Johnny on the spot and we'll reach out and schedule a demo that works for you.
So as I said, our closing remarks, our closing statement is that you can be a general practice lawyer. You can be a brand new lawyer who's starting a practice. You can also switch from your current software to My Legal software, or we can do that for you. Or if you are struggling with your software, or if you don't want to lose your data in the older software, we can even kind of basically, include that software with this software for you so that you have a full circle. Bottom line is, right from general practice lawyers to immigration lawyers, we have immigration forms that we use all the time, I-130s, I-485s, I-765s, etc., etc. You can use the software, and we'll be back again after 2 weeks. And what is the topic, Jessica, 2 weeks from now? You're going to see actual lawyers coming in and training and showing you how My Legal software can be very useful to you. Actual paralegals and lawyers telling you why our paralegals love My Legal software. And Suraj Rahman may be there, or someone else will be there. But thank you for your time, folks. Hope you all learned a lot about VAWA. Stay tuned for our next session, which is actually going to be on the 11th, I believe, 11th of May, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see the final Jeopardy round, whether I am correct or wrong. Suraj, what's the 11th of May, 2023? 1, 2, 3.
What is the 11th of May?
Yes.
It's a Thursday.
Wow! So you got 10,000 points. So our next session will be on the 11th of May. Stay tuned with Jessica, Mike, Suraya, and some others to know why My Legal software can be your best friend. It's rightly said that a friend in need is a friend indeed. So we'll be back again on the 11th of May with all of you, and hope you all enjoyed the session. If you like the show, feel free to share it with your friends and let them know that they can learn the law over here with My Legal software. Learn the law with My Legal software on Thursday, 11th May, 2023, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, everybody, and goodbye to everyone.
Take care.
Bye.